Morning all, it's Wednesday, it's the 8th of November and it's raining outside and I don't want to go out, so I'm going to do a little bit of a strange video. This is a honing video. I normally do my honing using the usual large-ish wooden block and of course the rubber pads for holding the stone. I'm not today, I want to do it all by hand. So all I've got is my little 40 magnification loop, which is actually quite a nice little tool. It's quite good enough for my purposes. I'm going to be using 3 stones only. The 3 stones will be a nanoir. I think it's a nanoir. Let me just check on that. It might not be. No, it's a Shapton. This is a Shapton. This is a Shapton 5K, lovely stone, followed by an 8K, which is a nanoir. Yeah, followed by the 8K. This time, I'm going on a bit of a kick with little coticles. This is one from Gary, and I had a good result with it. I've only used it once. I'm going to use it again, but I'm going to use it freehand, as obviously it's a small stone and it won't fit into the usual rubber mounted holding blocks. So the reason I'm doing this is because I've got a beautiful razor. Now this is probably my best. This is a Puma 91 and it's the famous high class, which is a beautiful etching on this one. It's not too damaged at all. It's its full size. It's a 6/8, but it's got a chippy edge, microchips. Now I don't know where they came from. I've only shaved with this razor a couple of times and I think I only refreshed it. So let's see what happens. Hopefully, if I use a little tiny bit of 5K, obviously I've taped the spine. I'm a little bit unconvinced about doing it all by one hand. I'm usually a two-handed honer. Let's see what happens though. I can feel, yeah, it's cutting beautifully. The slurry I always find helps to cut. Let's do a few rotary strokes. I just want to get rid of these rather annoying little microchips. They're fairly evenly spread, these microchips, along the length of the edge. So my theory is, as this is a considerably old razor, it may have caused some sort of oxidization problem in the past with the edge. So as other people have mentioned, cutting back to fresh steel is probably a good idea. At the same time, I really don't want to lose much edge. The steel on this Puma, as it's basically its full size, I'm rather loath to lose anything off it. Anyway, I'm going to check this in a moment. I'm a firm believer in doing rotary strokes. You're covering more area. And also, when you look underneath your loupe or your microscope, it's a lot easier to determine what is a rotary stroke to what is a purely lateral stroke. There's your lateral strokes, and that will give a scratch pattern, which is obviously going to be linear, up and down, up and down. Whereas I have found doing rotary strokes, it gives a different pattern. So by doing that and then alternating to another stone, you should be able to tell whether or not you've gone from one stone scratch pattern to another and removed it. Anyway, I reckon that might be enough on the 5K. These are only little annoying microchips, so I'm hoping that's enough. I'll now check. The loop. I have used microscopes, I've used electric ones, I've used optical ones are better. But just visually ain't good enough. These are very fine chips. So let's have a look using my little trusty 40 magnification loupe. Well, well, well. Well, well, well. That's intriguing. Most are gone. The one which had me most disturbed was near the nose. Yeah, I'd say that was good. In which case, assuming I'm right, and I'm not kidding myself, these little loops are very light dependent. This one comes with a little LED, which I've already shown you. In bright sunlight, you don't need it. Yeah, they're gone. So that was worthwhile, wasn't it? Right. I think we can forget the 5K. Wash it off. And go straight onto the already prepared. As you can probably see, I did bother using the pencil test. I did write longitudinal lines on the stones and wiped them off with my trusty but very cheap diamond plate. Righty-ho. Now this has already got a slight slurry on it, so hopefully it's sufficient to go from 5K to 8K. I'm not going to do the rotary strokes, I don't think it's necessary. I'm only going to do enough strokes just to even out the scratches on the 5K. Now just listening and feeling the edge. All is good. I think on the whole I'd still prefer my double-handed grip on a blade. This single-handed is good. I like it. And some of my favourite people only ever go one-handed. Devon Jackson, he's very adroit and very capable a gentleman, and I would certainly recommend any honing video by Devon. Obviously the great masters, I'm not knocking our great masters out there. Yeah, there's so many. Dr. Matt, Glenn Mercurio, there's some great skilled people out there. But Devon goes into tremendous intricate detail and really analyses one stone from another. Anyway, do you know, I would think that's probably enough. Let's get rid of the slurry. As you can see, it's nice and dark. That's good dark slurry, so it has taken off steel. This is why I quite like using slurries. Not only do they cut better, but you can actually see the result. So this is a very obvious stone. This stone being an 8K. Any movement on it, you'll see a trace. So here we are now, doing a few more strokes. But these strokes, I'm being very naughty by the way, you should roll the spine thus. But as I'm new to doing one-handed honing, I thought, you know, I'll cop a few off. Anyway, rolling on the spine is the proper way. You're not going to make any mistakes that way. I'm not now looking for any darkening because the slurry has already done its job on our first few passes. So this is just purely to polish, and very light now. Yeah, you can always tell you're getting it right. You can see the water run very cleanly. Yeah, I'm going to call that enough. I can just see a few tiny little dark marks appearing on the stone to show it is still cutting. Very few, just very light. In fact, you need to rub your finger over it to see that there is in fact metal on the stone. It just goes to prove that you have actually done some good, or I've done some good. Right, a couple more and then we're done. Just lifting off, rolling. That's lovely. Right, I shall now pop him away. A lot of people are dismissive of the 8K. I only love the 8K for the simple reason it's so obvious what you're doing. The slurry is so very, very clear. You can tell exactly the amount of metal that you're taking off. Whereas a darker stone, yeah, it's not quite as obvious to me. Anyway, let's now have a quick check what's happened to this edge. I'm pretty certain I won't under a modest 40 magnification. I would very much doubt that I can see any scratch pattern as being different from the 5K. But let's have a look. Nah. No. I'd lie if I could say there's any great difference. There's not. The object of this little exercise is purely to rid myself of the microchips. I'm pretty certain they're all gone. Let's turn this into the light and have another look. Yeah. Yeah, it's looking good. Right, okay, let's call that done. What'll be interesting now is to see what result I get. Finally, we can go to my already prepared little coticle. This has got a light slurry on it. I'm hoping that's enough. I can just feel, yeah. So we'll hope that the little garnets are going to work their magic. I'm lifting off clear of the stone. I think with the smaller stones you can just lift off. With the larger stones, it's probably wise to roll like that. But on the smaller stones, no. Anyway, I can see a very, very slight darkening. So we are getting somewhere. Doing a few X strokes. I've no idea the correct number to do, and I'm assuming that 8K, a very light 8K, was sufficient to go straight onto a slurried coticle. So what I'll now do is assume that we've replaced the scratch pattern from an 8K with the strange pattern that you get on a coticle. So that's going to be it. Now others, especially Devon, will go on purely the feel. But when I've got a tape, which is quite a precious razor to me, so when you've got a tape on the spine, you're probably knocking the feel, because obviously you're rubbing the tape on the stone and you can only tell the sound and the feel of the edge. But you know, I rather hope, yeah, there's a slight darkening, so I rather think we're there. So this is a very simple way to rectify a problem edge, and gives the huge advantage of me being able to try next a coticle shave. So I'm going to call that Mr. Coticle. Whether this is a deep vein or whether this is I've no idea. I'm a virgin when it comes to coticle use, but it's a pretty little stone. Let's do a few more strokes. Just wipe off the last remaining slurry. Do a few more strokes, and I think that will be ready to be stropped. I'm doing the slow X strokes just to give the maximum coverage on this lovely little stone. Eternally grateful to Gary, who is the most generous chap I've ever come across when it comes to straight razors. He's been extremely kind and allowed my good friend and fellow wedge shaver, Jeff, to have some lovely stuff, including nice razors, and let him have a bargain on his stones. So Jeff and I had a Saturday morning honing session, and that worked very, very nicely. So that is, I think, enough. I don't think there's much danger of me over honing on this. I'm just going to do a few very, very light ones now. Very, very light. I'm not giving any excess pressure. But obviously, this myth of, oh, the weight of the razor. Well, no. I think you've got to get a little tiny bit more than just the weight of the razor. Although I do own razors which are so heavy, if you try to go swimming carrying one, you drown. My 13/8, which if you guys have been following my videos, is an absolute monster. Gibson 13/8. In fact, it's nearer to 14/8. So that's more like shaving with a honed axe. It gives a beautiful, beautiful shave. Well, what do you think, guys? Do you think that's enough? I rather think that's enough. Just some very, very gentle strokes. Unfortunately, looking underneath my little 40 magnification loop, this is more of a sort of a how to do a mobile re-honing video. This is not really reducing huge amounts. Anyway, let's have another quick clean with a piece of fresh tissue. We'll have a look. But I can see, even visually with my own poor old eyes, I can see that's a very nice edge now. Let's hope all the microchips are long gone. Right, here we go with the loop. I'll put the light on, switched on. Yeah. As far as I can tell, with a relatively low magnification loop. Actually, for a loop, this is quite high magnification. It hasn't got the ability to really see the structure of the edge properly. So what I might have to do is get this little beast, which everybody seems to be using, and see what we can see with that. Oh, that is so much better. Yeah, that's 60 magnification. Ooh, how interesting. I won't keep you guys much longer. What an interesting scratch pattern. Right, enough of this. I'll study that later. Hopefully now I can take off the tape, give it some seriously good stropping. I will check the edge again, and then I'm going to shave with it. That'll be my next video. I hope this is vaguely amusing. So this is only a 3-stone step to remove by hand, not with using, you know, the rubber blocks and all the woodwork. This is just by hand on stones to remove microchips and to restore and redeem an edge and try a little coticle edge. Anyway, chaps, thanks for watching. I hope this is amusing. Bye for now.